The second pattern is coordinate the uncoordinated. We are experiencing a shift in paradigm, one in which power used to come from control, and now it comes from coordination. Birds fly in flocks, fish swim in schools, animals travel in herds. They create power and safety by coordinating themselves. Many of the business models that we admire today, like Uber and Airbnb, these platform business models, they don't control things, they coordinate them. They don't control the rooms, they don't own them, they don't own the cars, they coordinate them. Blockchain, I think, is just the next iteration of that, where you're not only coordinating the things, the ledgers, but you're coordinating the nodes that are coordinating the ledgers. Two friends of mine from Wharton, they started a company called Common Bond. Common Bond is a lending platform for student loans. And what they realized that the student loan industry was really broken. It resulted in high fees, a lot of debt for students. And they said a better way to do this would be to coordinate lenders. So why don't we go to a university and approach their alumni and say, would you give loans to incoming students? Not only will you help the university and help students, but because repayment rates are pretty high, this is actually a good investment. They started this a few years ago, and they already have lent over $2.5 billion in low-cost student loans. Another client that we work with, Macmillan, they were worried about self-published authors, people who would write a book. They couldn't get a book publishing contract, so they would self-publish. And if they were successful, Macmillan would go to them and say, hey, we'd like to publish your next book. And it used to be that authors that got a chance to get published by a real publisher, that they jumped at the chance. But something changed. Increasingly, successful self-published authors were saying, well, why do I need you? I don't think I need you anymore. And they started thinking about that. Why does a self-published author need a publisher? If this continued, their business model would be obsolete. So they sat down and they said, how could we coordinate would-be self-published authors? And they came up with this idea that became Swoon Reads. The way Swoon Reads works is if you're a self-published author and you haven't even finished your manuscript, you can put it onto a platform to get feedback from readers. And they have this community of readers who then give feedback on the manuscript. The manuscript's not even done. They are co-creating it with the author as the author finds its audience. A very radical idea for a traditional publisher. Then the audience rates the manuscripts according to heat, tears, laughs, and thrills. That gives them a score. That determines the top 10, and then the top 5, and then top 3. It's sort of a Dancing with the Stars competition. The publisher, Macmillan, picks the winner, and the winner, of course, gets a publishing contract. And what's remarkable is that they have never had an author turn down that publishing contract. What have they done? They've taken what could have been a fatal threat to their business model, and by coordinating it, they turned it into a competitive advantage. So what you want to ask yourself is, who or what would we like to coordinate? Step back from the business and look at the system in which you're competing and say, what is uncoordinated that if I coordinated it, I could create power?